Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Today we are going to be riding and reviewing this bike. This is a very polarizing new scooter from BMW called the CE04, and it's a full electric scooter. It looks more like a bike out of the Tron movie. I think sometimes that designers, they will design a bike that's fun, and this bike looks like a fun bike, but it doesn't resemble really a scooter. Other than the seating position, I don't really see this as a scooter. I see it more like as a futuristic type of vehicle. Of course, with gas prices going up, electric vehicles are more and more the rage. And in the cars, we have Tesla, of course. Tesla makes great products, but the problem is they cost $50,000, $60,000. So the only motorcycles that you have that are electric that are worthy of anything are the Zeros. And those are $20,000 and up. Hence, BMW. With this BMW enters the game. So why is it called the CE04? 04 is interesting because it's meant to really compete with the displacement as a 400cc type of motorcycle. So this would be comparable to a 400cc according to BMW. According to the website, this bike costs about $11,000. It's got a full LED headlight. It's got a 10-inch TFT display. It's got keyless ride. It's got 3 modes: Eco, Rain, and Road. It's got ABS, electronic reverse, ventilated storage compartment, side loading storage, and standard charging cable for domestic sockets. The engine is a permanent magnet, liquid-cooled synchronous motor, powered by a 20 horsepower, max 42 horsepower at 4,900 RPM. It makes 45.7 pounds of torque at 1,500 RPMs, and it weighs about 509 pounds. Its competitors are Suzuki Bergman 400 and the Vespa Elettrica and the Yamaha X-Max. This bike has a 15-inch tire up front. It's got 2 rotors in the front, but it's interesting because this bike, it's got so much regen that you really don't need to brake all that much. So I wonder how long these brake pads would last on this bike. You really have 2 positions for your feet, flat. What I like about the bike with flat position is that your legs are at a 90-degree angle and they're not scrunched up. The Honda Silverwing I had, I was scrunched up. You know, my knees were like really high. And then you have a little bit more play, and putting your feet forward, you can relax your riding a bit. So these are almost like little highway pegs, and your feet kind of like fit in there. And you do have a passenger foot peg, not as well integrated into the bike as I thought it would be, because everything about this bike is very streamlined, and then you have standard foot pegs for the rear. So you do have storage here, and BMW claims you can put a full-size helmet inside here. You do have to have the bike on, and I do have keyless ignition. You just push it and it pops right out. Hopefully you guys can see, but I have a bunch of stuff in here, and you should fit a full-size helmet inside of there. You can see there's like a couple of switches, but very nice feeling for closing. These little storage compartments make just commuting every day a breeze. On the rear, you have your entire wheel fully exposed. I mean, this almost looks like a Japanese anime type of car, the way they did it. I love the design. I love that BMW does this with bikes. You know, they have the single-sided swing arms on their bikes. This is quite nice. It looks industrial with this type of rim. 15-inch tire in the rear, and you have a shredder valve built right into the side of the rim, which is something you don't often see. These are the blinkers, very low to the ground, and I do wonder if this is going to be visible to cars. And this is very unlike many scooters. Scooters don't often have this exposed with the belts, and this is very unlike a scooter. But this kind of is more of a motorcycling styling design for the belts. Your rear shock here, it's covered by this plastic bit. In a way, I kind of would prefer to see the bike without this covering. And you have a very wacky type of kickstand, no center stand. And you know, the bike, even though it weighs 500 pounds, it's pretty heavy, but it does not feel like it. It's got a very low center of gravity. When you put the kickstand up, it's flush with the bike, and it doesn't have like a little foot to kind of pull it back down. It does have a little lip, but it's almost flush with this. And this is plastic. This is, I think it's metal, but covered with plastic. It does work pretty well, but I wonder if there's something a little bit easier to kind of pull it back. I found myself struggling to pull this down. Another interesting feature, your hand goes right through the seat. So, interesting design that BMW did this. Having, I guess you can put storage, you can put items through here, but very interesting element of design that they did. This is where you have a storage compartment, you have your power button, and I have the key so I can push the button. It's electronic. The LCD comes on, and I want to show you this. There's a open 12 volt. You just kind of push that. This pops right out. And then you have a little bit of storage, and you have a USB charger for your phone or whatever. Just kind of put it there and charge your phone. And on this side, this is where you would charge the bike. So when the bike is on but not started, you have a LED strip underneath, and you can see it more if you are looking up at it. This is a very atypical windscreen. It actually looks more like something you would see in an exhibit somewhere where you would put a flyer. But it does work. It does seem a little bit on the strange side, but you know, BMW, I think they're doing these things kind of quirky with this. I think a typical windscreen might have worked better. I don't know. The interesting pattern is that you see these triangles everywhere. Even in the seat, they echo these triangles. So here are more of these little triangles, and then it's got these bars with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Not exactly sure what that's all about. And stitched into the rear passenger, which is a different color than the front, you have BMW Motorrad as the passenger seat side. This is typical of BMW. BMW for navigation are using this kind of up and down joystick that controls the screen. And you do have your brake here, then you have the menu button, and then you would use this to kind of navigate through the menu. This is very interesting. You push R, and when the bike is on, that's how you can reverse. That's right, this bike has got a reverse gear. And left, right. The thing that you find when you're coming from a Japanese bike and you're just touching these blinkers is the short amount of throw that they have. I'm just not used to it. Then you have a horn, pretty loud. You have also a high beam indicator and a hazards button. Right side, you have, of course, your throttle. You have your start. In order to start it, you have to push the brake button and hit start. Then you have a modes, and I believe this is the heated grips. They're doing all of these type of displays, and I think they look great, very modern. You have your, I guess, the battery status, 80%, 45 miles on this battery. I believe the range is 80 miles or so. You have your trip. This bike only has 673 miles, so it's a baby. One thing we have to do is take this bike for a spin and see how she behaves. Let's go. One of the big problems with electric motorcycles has been the idea and the fact that they carry the batteries very high, and they tend to be very heavy. The Zeros are extremely heavy. The DSR, for example, that's a heavy monster bike that's comparable to, I don't know, you know, my Honda Silverwing was very heavy. This one is only a few pounds lighter. So keep that in mind. But on this one, the weight doesn't feel like it's high. So even though it weighs 500 pounds, it's extremely like centered. I have no idea where the battery is. I'm assuming right in that section. But it's interesting that it doesn't feel heavy, even though it is a heavier bike. So to start this bike, you hit the brake and you do that, and it'll change. So now it's at ready, and we can hit reverse and go backward. Now it's got a limited amount to reverse, and I'm on dynamic, so as soon as you start moving, the bike is live. And it is very quick. It's a quick little bike. The seat is extremely hard. So the seat on this thing, I don't think you'll be doing any crazy touring on this thing. It does move pretty well around that corner, for example. By the way, I can hit my brakes, or I can just let it slow down by itself, and it does. Turning, very easy to turn, very easy to modulate your speed. And just going around a corner, the suspension is pretty decent. I'm gonna turn in here real quick. I'm like interested to see how it does with slow speed maneuverability, and as you can tell, very easy to kind of go around. Whew. It is quick. Of course, if you get a $10,000 scooter like this, 10,000, 15, whatever, and you keep it for a while and you commute on it every single day, you're talking about a crazy amount of savings. And also keep in mind that on these bikes, there's no oil changes, there's no filters, there's like no air cleaners. So maintenance is pretty much nil compared to an internal combustion engine. You know, another interesting thing is that I am actually on my tippy toes. I mean, I'm not like really that much on my tippy toes, but I can feel that this is a tall bike. I think the 30-inch inseam might be a deal breaker for a lot of people. This thing is just fun to ride because it's so new. Whoa. Oh yeah, people cannot mistake this for not being electric. Limited by where you can go. Oh boy. 66, 68, 69, 71, 73, 74, 75. That's pretty darn good. With all the developments of internal combustion engines, we have pretty much made ICE machines as trouble-free as we could possibly have made them. And now we're going into the electric movement. And I always wonder, is it worth it? Because you are paying a premium. The problem with the electric vehicles is that, first of all, the motorcycles like Zeros, they're very top heavy. The batteries are just so large. Hey buddy. The batteries on Zeros are so large, and the bikes are so heavy compared to what you would get. You know, you got a 250cc motorcycle compared to a Zero. You're talking about a huge price difference. And when I rode the Zero, the charge would die within 60 miles, even though it was a 160-mile range. On this one, I'm already at 63, and I'm not even trying. I'm actually going to switch modes. Let me switch to... Shoot, 63? Ah, man, it was at 70-something in the switch. I'm going to put it on eco mode. 62%. I'm on eco mode, and this is the problem of the electric bikes. Range anxiety. There's Clay on his CE04, CE04. He's taking that corner. Oh my God, look at it. I was not ready for that. I was, that's pretty darn quick. That's funny. Yeah. All right, green light, we're gonna go.
Hey, keep it down over there.
Why the BMW CE04 might not be a great option. Now, don't take me wrong. I really like the scooter. It's quick, it's agile, but here is the thing. It's a $10,000 to $15,000 motorcycle. So when you consider the price, you're not getting that much in return. You're getting maybe a 60-mile range. You have to consider the same type of mobility. For example, a scooter. You can get quite a few scooters for that price. Now imagine that you wanted to get a scooter. That was the thing that you wanted. You have a lot of options on the table, including a Honda ADV 160. You can get one for $4,499. You can get a PCX for $4,000, a Ruckus for about $3,000, a Metropolitan for $2,600. And I know that the BMW is quicker, it's electric, all the rage. Just as a comparison, if you were to get a Honda Metropolitan, for example, you could get 6 Honda Metropolitans for the price of the BMW CE, the $15,000 version. And get this, if you bought a Honda Metropolitan in the used market, those things are dirt cheap, so maybe $1,500 for one. You could get 10 of those for the price of the BMW. But I know that the people that get BMWs tend to have a whole lot more money. But you're not going to be going too far out of the city. You're just doing very quick in-town commutes. And of course, you have to get a charger. Most BMW owners are going to have a house with proper charging and a garage. So that's not going to be an issue. But I can't get over that $14,180 MSRP. And I've ridden zero bikes, the zero electric motorcycles. It's the same thing. But on those, they're so much heavier and much more expensive, but they don't give you the same that a regular motorcycle gives you, which is freedom. This one, you feel very constrained. So in comparison, let's say you decided to buy a motorcycle, a brand new motorcycle. For the same price and have money left over, you would get a CBR 600RR for $12,000 and have $3,000 left over. And you could get a CB500X for $7,000. And if you wanted to go into the Honda Trails, the Honda mini bikes, you can get them like a Honda Navi for $1,800, a Trail 125 for $4,000, a Super Cub C125 ABS, $3,800, a Monkey, $4,200. You get my point. You're gonna get a bike like the BMW only for maybe showmanship. It's quick, but not as quick as a 600cc bike. It's the equivalent of a 400cc scooter. All right, guys, that is just my take. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next video.